There's an art, a skill to listing items online to sell, whether it's eBay, Amazon, or anywhere. If you mess it up or you do it wrong, you could hurt your chances of selling the items. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about listing your items. How important it is to get all of the steps right to get your items up in front of people for them to buy it. We're going to list a few items, and I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts, things you should not do when you're listing. So before I go actually and list something, one thing I want to point out is a lot of people will find an item. I've picked some random postcard here because I am going to list a couple of postcards just to show you. And they may see the exact same image for a postcard they have, and they'll want to go ahead and click the Sell Now button. I personally would never, ever, ever use the Sell Now option on someone else's listings. Now, there's a bunch of data that follows listings around, and in some cases, when you sell a similar one, like this, selling one just like someone else's, there could be other things that are set up in there that you may not see that could affect part of the listing. There's a whole bunch of reasons why I never click the Sell Now button on any listing or sell similar on someone else's listing. I never want to trust their judgment or any data that could be tied to a listing specifically to my listings. If I'm going to sell similar or sell like an item that I already see, I'm only going to do it from my own store. I only list items that I have listed myself already as a sell similar basis. I don't honestly do templates or anything else like that to list on eBay at all. I sell similar from an item I already have up in those specified collector fields. Now, I just picked a random item here on eBay. It's just a t-shirt. Found it with a normal search. Just picked some random rock band t-shirt. No idea if this is a licensed product. I don't know about the seller or anything else like that. We're just going to give you a little idea on how to tell some of the information that may be tied to your listing that you don't even have a clue is there. So if you right-click anywhere on the listing, slide down to View Page Source. And you're going to come up to a page that looks like this. Now, sometimes you'll see metadata. There's a bunch of metadata in here. There's some other things that could show up in here also that you may not realize could affect part of it. In searches on the internet, there is information pulled from what's shown in the actual code from the page itself. So there are some interesting things in here. A lot of stuff you may see on here in the coding section itself, you won't even see on the page, but it could affect you. They even write notes in here that have no bearing on what anything does. These are basically just comment sections. They're in green. Remove welcome message as no longer displayed. Check if still shown on VI. Parent action text. These are all information that mean nothing to you, but mean something to the person that's coded this page. Now, I took HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is basically what this is, all written in. I know that stuff shows up in here and is tied to specific listings, and if you're selling one that could possibly bring in some of their information, I would never do that. Using the page's source code, you can find out what a best offer item sold for, even though eBay doesn't list it. I've got another video showing you that as well. Here's just one more example in the thousands of lines of code in this one page here. There's actually links that will take you to all sorts of different pages. Again, most of these links do not show up at all on the actual page itself. These are hidden, buried features that only show up in certain interactions on a specific page. So we're here in my store. I'm in the hub. I'm on the listings page. Now, I don't usually use create listings to do anything. Again, I don't do templates at all on eBay these days. I've had them disappear far too many times for me to ever want to even create them. If they're gone or disappear when I need them, it doesn't do me any good. I can always use a listing. Now, I've got a postcard, so we're just going to come on down here from my store, and I'm going to sort my listings down to postcard. Now, if you list the same type of items, that would be really quick. You can just pick the top one, whatever it may be on there. And I'm going to, from here, do sell similar. That's all I'm going to do on this one. I'm picking the last postcard that I listed, which just happens to be from the same group that I'm actually going to list right now. Now, key things to think about. Always have a location where you're going to store anything. And I personally put that in my title. F26 is the bin that this card will actually sit in. Now, your title is extremely important. Having the right keywords is essential. Now, I add some extra ones in. I pretty much always put postcard. Sometimes we put original as a space filler, because I do try to make my title fairly long. Draws attention to those who only put a few words in some categories. Now, I'm going to back up and delete the old title here. This is about all I'm going to have to change in this title. The card I'm listing now is circa 1910. So I'm going to type in the name of the country, Island Harbor. This card I've got is a real photo. You'll see it in just a second here. It's an RPPC. And I'm going to put real photo in the title as well, just to let that everybody knows it. So we're going to keep it in typographical. Again, right now there's only 2 categories on eBay for these. They've changed all of the designations. Now, I can look down here. My condition description box is the same. I don't have to change the description. Most of my postcards I list together, so like-to-like items are all together. If you're listing shirts or clothing, list all your shirts together, men's shirts. List all your women's shirts together. List anything you can think of together that will save you time from changing the category, changing your store category, forcing you to put a UPC in, or any other thing here. Everything that I'm doing on the top of this, I don't have to mess with. So all I've done is typed in a few words up here at the top. I don't have to change category. I don't have to change my store category, UPC, condition. Condition description stays the same as well. So I just delete my photos here. And we're going to add some more. And I'm just going to have to navigate to where I am at. We're going to have to make it so we can see them. And this is the first one. This is the one I'm listing right here. Now, one thing I do is I upload a second one of the face of every card I list. Most items I list, I do. So I can do a zoom in with this. So I do a zoom in. Basically, I'm going to pick a good section of the card, and I'm going to crop it to that section. This makes that section far larger and it stands out. This fills up the whole box. There's no white or anything else like that for your main image. It's a nice detailed image. You can see ships in a harbor, buildings, the whole works. It's a far better image to display your item than this here. When you do long shots, no one can see what's shown in your image. The images that get the most attention, the listings that get the most attention are the ones that have zoom-ins, especially with anything vintage in the paper category. If you can't see it from a gallery view as you're quickly scanning through listings as a buyer, you're going to pass them up. So if your image isn't good, your title's not good, they're just going to go right on by you. You want to call attention to your items, and the zoom-in method here always works for us. Now, when we first switched over to doing zoom-ins, we got a 20% plus boost in sales right away. It called attention to our listings drastically more than other people of the exact same item. So I can sell items like other people do, but detail them better, describe them better, put a better title with keywords in there, and sell them for more than someone else because of these methods. I'm going to switch it around here. We're going to save it. That's all there is to this. And I'm accepting any of these options they have here that apply to my item. Now, this is an island in Portugal, so we're going to go ahead and track that down for the country. The city we're going to list as the same as the island name here. Again, you don't have to put all this in here. In all honesty, the most important aspects are in the title, or as well, I've got them highlighted here. It's original, it's a real photo. It's a real photo. As you see, they've got a secondary category for RPPCs. Why, I don't know. Now, you can pick the era, pre-war, whatever the case may be, however you want to do it. Now, in this case, I wouldn't fill in any more than I would have to down here because most of the information is going to be in the title. That's the most important spot to put a lot of these types of information. Obviously, the country of origin is important down here because it's not in the title. There's not a category for it either, so you're forced to fill in other aspects instead of just clicking a button. So just keep that in mind. Most of the other stuff here I'm not going to mess with. I'm not going to look at. It's all just unneeded information. Way too many item specifics. Now, when it comes down to the actual item description, I have them all the same. If you read it here, up for sale is an original vintage postcard in good condition as shown. Also tell them that I have thousands of more postcards up at any given time. We pretty much use the exact same item description for anything that we're selling. We just change the word from postcard to button to trade card to shirt, hat, spoon, soldier, action figure, whatever it is. And then we switch Over here as well, I have thousands of other postcards. I would change it to whatever item I happen to be selling at the time. It's just a couple of word change there. As I said, it's a couple things up here I've got to change. Not much else is changed at all in here. Price-wise, this price honestly is the same price as this one that I'm using the listing for. I try to list like-to-like items. So I'm listing an item that has the same price, same everything else, other than the main description, the photo, and a few other words like that. So we've actually staged the items that we're going to list in order as well, so that the prices I don't have to change either. So as little information you have to change, the better it is for you, because you're saving time. You're not wasting a whole bunch of time changing everything, listing to listing to listing to listing. It can all add up. Even if it only adds an extra 30 seconds, a minute to your time, you add that up for every single listing you're doing, and you could have listed dozens of more items in the same time frame by not having to switch stuff up. So make it easy, make it simple. Other things I would always recommend are setting up business policies for your shipping details. Now, for business policies, you can set up your payment policy. Instead of doing it one by one for every single listing, I would honestly set up these business policies. So my standard payment policy is the same for every single item that we sell. It's paid through eBay's managed payments and the whole works. It's always the same. Now, I do have defaults for everything, as you see here. Like my return policy is almost the same for every single item that I sell. There are a few issues with foreign shipments that go out of the country where I don't cover return shipping. If it's in this country, we pay for return shipping if it's returned for any reason. That's a default one for me. So I don't have to set any of these up for the standard item that I'm listing. If I'm listing an oddball item, then I can come in here and pick something else for whatever item that I happen to be listing. Same thing with standard payment policy. Again, I only have one, or the return policy if you have more than one. Now, I also do not list on any other site on eBay. This option here you got to be careful with, because there are charges associated with it showing your listings on other eBay sites. So keep that in mind. I don't do it. I just send it straight from here without having to mess with that. If you're listing on other sites in other countries, there could be some legal aspects or tax-related issues that could affect you later on. Now, I also keep all of the dimensions, my package weight and dimensions, the same for every single paper item that I ship out, button, or anything else like that. Chances are if the item weighs 3 ounces or less, which this one does, everything's going to be the same. I standardized my shipping. So all of my 3-ounce cards of any kind, buttons, plastic, anything small like this, goes in a 6x9 poly bag. 3-ounce weight. So I don't have to change anything, shipping, policies, or anything else. I don't use promoted listings, so I don't touch that. I don't either mess with the volume pricing either. If somebody wants to do something, they can reach out to me and offer on a specific item. I do give discounts for buying more than one item. Far easier, in my opinion, to do it that way than to trust eBay's percentages here or any of these offers. I don't need to automatically offer somebody a discount just because they're buying more. That will give away some of my profits. If they, again, do put some offers in and want to get more items, I'm fine with that. That's literally what 99% of the people will do. They will email you and say, hey, if I buy a bunch of items, can I get a discount? Can I get a break? I'm always happy to do that. That is it. That's all there is to worry about with listing this item. We did very little to this entire big page of stuff up here. I didn't have to touch pretty much most all of the aspects on here. A photo, a title, and then the price. And I don't even have to touch the price in this case either. Now, one thing I always do before I list, and everybody else does here, is make sure that my fees are 0. If it says anything else, you got to go back up and look what's going on. So from this point, all I'm going to do then is go down in here and list the actual item. So your bottom end goal here when you're listing is to stage everything. Make sure everything that's going to be in the same category, same condition, same price, or whatever it may be, is right next to each other when you're listing it. Now, we store all of our photos on an SD card so we can take them anywhere we want, in any laptop, computer, PC, or anything else like that. We stack up everything together, like-to-like items as well, so I can just flip through these one by one and have them all set ready to go. We keep them in the same storage area as well, so everything is the same. You don't have to be constantly changing all sorts of settings. Again, keep it as simple as you can. Stage it ahead of time so when it's time to list, you can just boom, 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 boom. You don't want to be spending 30 seconds, a minute even, on every single listing, having to bot back and forth between categories, item specifics, condition, and all that sort of thing. An extra few seconds, honestly, to sort them before you photograph them, scan them, or get them ready to actually list will help you out immensely. You really want to do all that, too, before you take the scan, before you take the photo. Again, it's all about time. I try to get up at least so many dollars worth in any given hour. Lately, we've been running around $600 or more per hour per person listing. So if somebody's going to list for an hour, they're getting around $600, $650 worth of merchandise up in any given hour. That cannot be done if you don't stage everything ahead of time. It's a lot easier to do it that way without a doubt. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Tony?
Look at Digger, Ma.
Digger the dog, Digger, he goes with you when you explore. Just pull his leash and go for a walk. He's your dog for sure. What's your dog's name?
Digger.
Digger the dog, Digger, he goes with you when you explore. Just pull his leash and go for a walk. He's your dog for sure.
Digger the dog, when you pull his string, he walks 5 feet. From Romper Room.